Let's get straight to UKIP, to its leader. Nigel Farage joins us from Kent. Hello to you. What did you think of the speech?
Good morning. It would have been nice to hear an apology, actually. I mean, even the Labour Party managed to apologise for mass immigration being way over expectations during their term. We heard none of that. What we saw was a Prime Minister playing catch-up, once again behind the curve, very scared of the UKIP vote, realising he's out of touch. It's taken him 10 years, 10 long years, to understand the scale of the problem within work benefits. I'm pleased that he said what he said, but of course, that will be considered to be discriminatory. There'll be countries like Poland that take Britain to the European Court of Justice. Their job is to uphold the treaties. But the most significant thing is that the Prime Minister, right through the speech, used the word control. And once again, it's a Prime Minister, I'm afraid, trying to deceive the British public. The fact is, whilst he may have taken away, potentially, one or two of the pull factors, you cannot control immigration as a member of the European Union because we have total open borders with the other member states. And the Prime Minister himself said that is something he isn't going to challenge.
I mean, the issue of treaties is an interesting one because it's unclear whether they actually need to be changed or not. Certainly, David Cameron, some of what he was talking about, he was saying would undoubtedly be changed within the rules of the European Union. No need to change a treaty. Do you accept that?
Well, it was very interesting. He didn't mention treaty change in his speech at all. That only came out later, under questioning. If he was going to change the principle of the free movement of people, then it would absolutely necessitate a treaty change. What he's arguing here for is not a rewriting of the European treaties, because there would be no appetite for that whatsoever. What in effect he's saying is he wants Britain, I think, to have a new treaty arrangement. But to change European treaties needs unanimity. He would need to get 27 other heads of state to agree with him. And I promise you, they're far more worried about the crisis in the Eurozone than Mr Cameron's problems with the UKIP vote heading up to next May's election.
And yet we were just hearing from our correspondent outside the Foreign Office saying that European ambassadors watching the speech seem on the whole to be impressed. In particular, the Cypriot ambassador saying that changes would be made, there would be a negotiation because people want the UK to stay in the European Union.
I think it's as simple as this. If the whole question of the free movement of peoples had been questioned, and if what the Prime Minister was demanding was an end to that and an ability for us to put caps and numbers on these things, then I think they would much rather Britain left the European Union. But the Prime Minister significantly didn't challenge that. He didn't really make the word control mean anything. So now they will see it as a negotiation. I suspect where Britain will win is the idea that we don't have to pay benefits to people who've come and never had a job. But when it comes to in-work benefits, under European Union rules, somebody from Poland or somebody from here in Kent has to be treated exactly the same. After all, given these treaties, we're all Europeans now.
I mean, just on the wider politics, which is interesting because this speech has been talked about and anticipated for quite literally months, and many observers believe it is, in a sense, it is there in order to counter the electoral threat your party poses. Do you not worry that David Cameron will succeed to a degree in that?
Well, 2 years ago, January 2013, the Prime Minister did a total U-turn, having said all through 2012 there would not be a referendum, with him as Prime Minister, decided there would be a referendum. And all the commentators said that the UKIP fox has been shot, and in fact all it did was to validate our arguments. And I suspect that once we start to get some negative response on some aspects of this from Mrs Merkel and others, people will say, well, the Prime Minister promised us he's going to take back control. Actually, he isn't going to challenge the free movement of people. I think all he does, the closer he comes to our position, the more justifiable people feel in voting for us.
OK, well, Nigel Farage, thank you very much. Thank you.